Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 10 at the Big A on Saturday is a major Kentucky Derby prep. Basically a win and you're in for the Kentucky Derby based on the qualifying points. It's the Grade 2 $750,000 Wood Memorial Stakes. It is a wide open race and a great card at Aqueduct on Saturday. Remember that first post bonus for DRF Bets members. Bet $25 to win on any one horse in race number 1 at either Aqueduct, Keeneland, or Santa Anita on Saturday. Get a $10 bonus, win or lose. Let's meet the field of 3-year-olds hoping to punch their ticket to Louisville in the Grade 2 Wood Memorial. Morning line favorite, Mike, the number 2, Tacitus, Jose Ortiz, Bill Mott, returned off a lengthy layoff with the addition of Lasix and just seemed like a more mature horse that was really appreciative of the extra distance. He was also appreciative of a very fast pace up front and a good ride.
Yeah, really good trip and ride in that race. A lot of things sort of conspired to get him to take the step forward that you wanted him to take in his 3-year-old debut. But all that being said, and I know that he's not the fastest horse necessarily on the way in. I mean, I think he should be the morning line favorite here. It feels like he still has more upside. I really did think he ran well in the Tampa Bay Derby. You know what, Dan? He ran well in his 2 starts last year, too. You felt like there was something there. He took the step forward in his first start. I know things went well for him in that race, but I do think he's the horse to beat.
And he's got that gorgeous Juddmonte pedigree, which makes you think that the 1 1/8 of the Wood Memorial will not be too demanding. That might not be the case for the number 4, Haikal, who has won his last 3 starts, and he just looks like a really professional, likable, stone-cold runner. Like Tacitus, he took advantage of a fast pace last time out in the Gotham. They were really falling down in the last 16th of a mile. Haikal, Rajiv, took a little bit of a bump at the start, fell far behind. This horse runs the turns very well while saving ground, and once he got into the clear, he was able to outfinish those tired horses. Now, you look at his pedigree, it is mostly sprint-oriented. This will be his first time around 2 turns. I wonder about the 1 1/8, but the way he's performed in his career, I think he deserves a shot to get this distance, and he should get some pace to attack again.
Yeah, he really does deserve a chance in a race like this. Listen, it's all about distance with him. I mean, who knows if he's going to handle it or not. There are things, that sort of point you in a direction that you feel like he might not handle it. Not only his pedigree, which is slanted sprint, but he's a closing sprinter in almost every situation. They are the biggest sucker plays stretching out that you can find. But this horse is really good. He's run well in all of his races. I did like his win last time, but let's be honest, that race set up perfectly for him. He ran well, but he also took advantage. To me, it all comes down to price of him. I personally would not take a short price on him in a race like this, but as you say, he deserves a chance to prove himself to be one of the better 3-year-olds.
Major advantage perhaps for the rail horse Tax is that he has already won at a 1 1/8 and has competed twice at this 9 furlong distance already throughout his short career. In the Grade 3 Withers last time out, he took a pretty good stumble, breaking from the inside post, but he recovered very quickly, was up and on the pace going into the first turn. Junior Alvarado reined him in. He sat the pocket, the rail opened up, and a trip was really good after that. What bothers me about the Withers is that A, he got a really nice trip, and B, that race has come back pretty weak. But there's no denying that he could get a similar trip in here, and we know he likes the trip.
Yeah, he likes the distance, and he's drawn perfectly once again down on the inside. I sort of feel the same way, it sounds like you do about him. I mean, I don't want to toss him in this race because I know that he can win. I just don't love him in here. I kind of want to see him do it again off of that perfect trip last time. And, I think there are 2 different ways to look at the Withers. It did get a really fast figure. I side with you. I don't think it was that strong a race. I want to see this horse do it again. But when I bet this race, I'm not leaving this horse out. I'm using this horse.
The number 3 Hofburg Union had a ton of buzz after his career debut, where he won by almost 16 lengths with a 95 Beyer. And that debut wasn't at 5.5 or 6 furlongs. It was at a 1 1/16 at Laurel. That race, the phone was ringing off the hook, let's just say, for Gary Capuano's barn afterwards. This horse was privately purchased. He now gets Lasix. He also gets thrown into the deep end of the pool.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, listen, I said I'm not leaving Tax out. I'll leave this horse out. I mean, I'm willing to be wrong about him, Dan. He ran a fast race first time out. He won as he pleased in there. I just felt like it was a pretty tough race to evaluate. He was the only first-time starter in that field. He didn't really take any money in there, and he just blasted that field. To me, there was just nobody running behind him. I don't really know what to make of that race. I know he's privately purchased. He's got good connections behind him now. He's got speed, all that stuff. this is a horse I'm not using in this race, and if he wins, so be it.
He was able to clear off after the first quarter mile in that race at Laurel. Might be tougher for him this time around, as we see with our Timeform U.S. pace projector. Yes, Hofburg Union, the number 3, is expected to make the lead, but that red bar indicating a fast pace could work against him in only his second lifetime start, trying winners for the first time and trying 1 1/8 with a horse like Not That Brady, the number 7, breathing down his neck. Not That Brady took a tough beat in the Withers 2 starts back. He didn't break very well. Then he was rushed up to set a pressured pace, and Tax just came up the rail and got him. And it made you think that 1 1/8 might just be a little bit too far for Not That Brady. The Gotham was a disaster. Supposedly he came out of that race with a quarter crack, so he has an excuse for that effort. He does have speed figures, but if he has to deal with pace pressure in here, I'm not sure he'll be standing at the end.
Yeah, right. And you mentioned in the Gotham last time, where he just didn't break that sharply. That's been a problem for this horse. He's basically done that in all of his races, so it's something to look out for in here. And I'm with you. I feel like the 9 furlongs is just too far for him. I won't take anything away from his Withers effort. He ran well that day. But I don't see him doing that again as the competition keeps getting tougher and tougher. I don't think he wants to go this far. And at the end of the day, Dan, I'm not sure he's quite this good.
Todd Pletcher has 2 in here. We'll begin with the longer price runner on David Aragona's morning line. That's the 6, Over Deliver, who I thought was as green as grass in his career debut, going 6 furlongs at Gulfstream. But look who he beat that day. Bodie Express, who finished 2nd recently in the Florida Derby. He ran in the Pasco last time out, and win, just hammered him. I think win, earned something like a 99 Beyer speed figure that day. And then that horse came back to run 3rd in the Tampa Bay Derby and is one of the morning line favorites in Saturday's Bluegrass. This horse has shown sprint speed. There's no reason why he won't be part of his solid pace.
Yeah, I think he will be part of the pace in here as he stretches out for the first time. I think he's okay. You haven't really seen that much of him his first 2 career races. I think they're both fine. As you say, he was very green first time out. He's got a lot of improving to do, and they're kind of asking him to take a big step forward in the toughest race of his life. I think there's a lot of things working against this horse.
Jovia attempted the stretch out last time out at Laurel for trainer Greg Sacco. There was always a little bit of buzz about this horse. As a 2-year-old, he was the frequent workmate of Mind Control, who ended up winning the Hopeful at 2. But after this horse won his career debut, he had some injuries. He missed a lot of time. He came back with a good effort behind High Colin, the Jimmy Wingfield. And last time out, he ran into a very hot horse at Laurel. But that race just didn't make me feel again that he's going to step up into graded stakes company and handle extra distance.
Right, especially from this post. I mean, he's hung out the
He's got to go,
right? Here. He's got to come out of there running. Last time, Always Mining, who was actually a pretty good horse, got right to the lead. This horse sat 2nd. Never made a dent in the margin, never looked like he was going to win, and they ran 1-2 around the track. You go back to his Jimmy Wingfield 2-back, he could have won that race if he had just stayed on the rail. He got off of it late, and High Cal came right up the inside and nailed him. But even if he had won the Wingfield, would you really like him in here?
The 5 is Final Jeopardy, and boy, it's tough to go against Jason Service the way this barn has been going for the last 2 years or so. This horse earned a career best Beyer speed figure when stretched out to a 1-turn mile recently. Now we'll see if he has the pedigree and stamina to go 1 1/8. It was nice to see him closer to the pace in that longer distance race. I could see him working out a nice mid-pack trip in the 2nd flight, and if he builds off that 90 Beyer, he is not too far away at a price.
I think that's all true. I mean, he's got the pedigree behind him too. I mean, there's a lot of quality on the dam side here, so I don't think it'd be any surprise to see this horse continue to improve. Talk to me about his last race, Dan. I mean, I thought he ran fine. I know he got a 90 Beyer. Didn't he just get the softest trip in the world in there? I mean, they were just going easy. He sat right up on the lead. He was a lot better than those horses. This is a way tougher test. I think he's got some talent. I really liked his first 2 races. I thought he ran fine last time too, but I don't know if I see him improving in a race like this.
Service also takes a shot with the 8, Grump's Little Tots, recent maiden winner, and also that was the first time going a route of ground, albeit a 1-turn mile. This horse a little bit slow on paper. These lightly raced horses can step up and improve by leaps and bounds, and this horse really has done nothing wrong in his career. It's just hard to see him improve so much to beat 3 or 4 of the top contenders in here.
Right. I mean, listen, I don't like him in this race. If ever there was a year where if you had a 3-year-old who you just think is okay and you want to take a shot, this is the year to do it. I mean, we're almost to the Derby already, and this is just a wide open crop with nobody standing out. You can take shots in races like this and hope for improvement, but I don't see this horse winning.
Math Wizard won his maiden by almost 7, then won his first start against winners by almost 19. The problem is he was claimed out of both of those races. telling you the quality of those efforts. And last time out, he was the beaten favorite at Gulfstream. I didn't really think it was the greatest trip for him in that spot, but let's be honest, what a gigantic step up in class. This is taking a shot.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, you know, big upsets in races like this before, and this would be a big upset.
Let's take a look at our top picks in the Grade 2 Wood Memorial. I think your horse, the number 10 Outshine, is kind of going to be one of the wise guy horses in this race because he showed some talent as a 2-year-old. Something must have happened. He went to the sidelines. It was a really solid return effort at 7 furlongs for Todd. And in the Tampa Bay Derby, he was really the only part of the pace that was still kicking around at the wire. I think it was an underrated effort for him. His buyers are creeping the right way, and isn't he just going to sit a great stalking trip off the speeds, getting the jump on the true closers like a high call?
I mean, that's how I looked at it. You know, and I hear what you're saying about him being the wise guy horse, and I think maybe he is. This Wood came down to a situation where I feel like the horses drawn in post 1 through 4. Listen, maybe they're just the best horses. I don't really like Hofburg Union. Yeah, and I just didn't really want to take any of them, and they do all have questions. I wanted somebody else. Outshine was really the only horse that I could go to. I think he can get a good trip in this race. I do think he ran well last time. And to me, he's a horse who's had quality from day one. I mean, I know he started early as a 2-year-old, and you don't see that anymore. He survived to tell the tale. He ran well last time. I'll take my chances with this horse, especially if he's around that morning line.
Really nice pedigree, sold for a lot of money. They've always been high hopes, and Todd's hoping that his patience is going to be rewarded with this horse, whose value at 6-1 on the line. Mike's going 10-2, 1 and 4. I understand everything you said about High Call being a sucker horse, and you're absolutely right. Most of these one-run closers, when they stretch out, they're unable to sustain those kicks. But I want to give this horse a chance. He's a neck away from being undefeated in his career. I think Kieran has taken his time with him. He could have easily run him in the Bay Shore, and it probably would have been one of the interesting horses coming from off the pace in that race. He'll take a shot here. We'll see if that 95 buyer from the last race is legit, because I think that's kind of the question, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, listen, though, win or lose, he's the most interesting horse in the race, just to see what he does, because you know he's good. It's just a question of if he can get out to a distance like this and continue to be good.
But I agree with you that 7-2 seems a little bit shy. I think 9-2 might be fair as he tries 1 mile and 1/8 for the first time. Again, Mike's going 10-2, 1 and 4. I'm going 4-1, 3 and 2 in the Grade 2 Wood Memorial, the feature race on a gigantic card at Aqueduct on Saturday. Remember that first post bonus, bet $25 on any one horse in race number 1 at Aqueduct, Keeneland, and or Santa Anita on Saturday. Get a $10 bonus, win or lose. Learn more at drf.com/preps. Approximate post time for the Wood Memorial, 6 o'clock Eastern. Best of luck.